I just had an interesting conversation with a client. They've just rebranded, and we were talking about adjusting the website so it can accommodate and present this new branding to the market. And it ended up in an interesting space because the client was saying, like, how are we going to define the user journey? And they wanted to go through a big UX exercise. But to me, the exercise, as I was discussing with them, actually seemed to be more a content exercise than a UX exercise. And by that I mean that the user experience, the layouts and the components that we would use to build that were actually quite elementary, very basic, nothing that required very much thought. What actually needed to happen is that they needed to consider how they're going to break down this journey for their customers, making the inquiry for them. And what I mean by that, for example, is if you called a business and made a general inquiry, then you kind of want everyone to have the same answer. And you also want that answer to be reflected on the website. Maybe there's a little bit of an element here that since you're talking to someone, you might want to get some more information. But in a general sense, you might say, let's just choose something generic. I'm interested in accounting services. How does it work with you guys? Then you ideally want the person on the end of the phone to say something similar to what you have on the website, which would be, listen, there's 3 steps that you need to take before you get involved with us. Step 1, we're just going to collect a brief. We're going to set a time. We're going to talk to you. We're going to ask you questions about X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Step 2, we're going to go away and digest that brief. We may come back to you with some more questions to clarify some items, but that's, the second stage is really us going away and thinking, and that just requires some time. And then step 3, we come back and present options with you, and we make that decision together. Now, you can hear how that might sound on a phone, I guess primarily because I'm talking to you about it at the moment, describing it. But imagine on a website, you probably could have a very similar presentation in that you might have step 1, step 2, step 3 going down the page. Then you'd have a headline, that describes what each stage does and summarizes it, i.e. step 1, schedule a meeting to collect a briefing from you, and then you'd have a paragraph. In that briefing, we blah, 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 blah. That's user experience. That's the customer journey, is answering these questions in a simple and digestible manner. If you want to sell an accounting service on your website and you end up just talking about how clever you are and how expert your guys are and how kind they are, that doesn't actually help me make a decision. That doesn't help me visualize what's about to happen next. What that does is it just kind of creates an opportunity for someone else to stand out by you not doing that. That's the question.